Thanks for joining the Beautiful Hour. I'm Nicola. Today we're going to be talking about dreams. Our special guest is Montrie Rucker Adams, and she has a book that says Just Do Your Dreams. Now, I know that we all have dreams, right? And we also have a story. And sometimes our stories can cause us not to fulfill our dreams. You know what I'm talking about. Stories of unimaginable events. It may have been betrayal, deceit, lying, cheating. It may be loss of a loved one. Those stories can really hurt hard and affect our mind and our body and our complete soul. And those stories keep us from fulfilling our dreams. Now, if you have a dream and you have not fulfilled it, it's time that it gets fulfilled. So there are things that we have to do as people in order to make our dreams come to fruition. First, we have to just start with the smallest step, okay? And that could be just encouraging yourself. Read affirmations, read quotes, take time to listen to other people's story to get inspired. Because all of those things that happen, they end up making us have the same emotions. Now, we have different stories, but we end up having the same emotions, such as anger, pain, bitterness, and it's like being a hamster on a hamster wheel, and you continue to go around the same wheel and you have the same emotions for years and years, and then your dream dies. But you don't want your dream to die. Your dream, your story is important. You never know how it's going to affect someone. It can inspire someone. So don't be afraid of your dream. Don't be afraid to share your story, rather. Don't be ashamed of it. And fear, that's another one of the things that cause us from completing our dreams. So, encourage yourself so that you can get that fear out of that. Now, stay tuned for our guest, Miss Montrie Rucker Adams. Welcome to the Beyoutiful Hour. My special guest today is Montrie Rucker Adams. Thank you for joining us today.
Oh, you're
so
welcome.
Glad you could grace us with your presence. You are an author, a business owner, and a coach.
Yes.
That's a lot of titles. So tell us a little bit about your business. You help people.
Well, we have a marketing communications public relations firm.
Mm-hmm.
It's called Visibility Marketing, Inc. And we started in 2000 is when we first became incorporated. So it'll be 17 years in 2 weeks.
Congratulations.
Well, thank you.
That's a nice run.
Yes.
So I took a look at your website and some of your services. You help people to get their information out to their audience, right? You help with newsletters, you help with other different types of media.
Well, our tagline is making you more visible.
Okay.
So whoever your audience is,
Mm-hmm.
how do you want them to know that you exist?
Mm-hmm.
How do you want them to know that you have products or services that could help them?
Right.
And traditionally, back in the 90s and 2000s, it was traditional public relations, marketing communications,
Mm-hmm.
which did not include social media. So it was getting them on programs like this, on the radio, on television, magazine articles, newspaper articles, getting people interested, especially journalists and interviewers, interested in them and their products and services, so that they could be on the news, in the radio, in magazines, different publications. So that was traditionally what we did. We still do some of that. Now we've incorporated social media, so it's bloggers we try to reach, right?
Yeah.
And we've also included healthcare, higher education, construction projects, the government, and energy companies. So we've expanded a little bit because before we were focusing on small businesses, nonprofits, but now we've moved into a different arena. So
right, because with the way technology is now, you had to reinvent your company.
absolutely. Oh yes, yes.
I mean, the social media network, and there's so many tools, vehicles, or as I say, that people can use to introduce their business. Like you said, you have the social network. I remember when newsletters came out, and that was just a big thing,
Yes.
and then it went bigger than that. And publications are, I think they're kind of fading out a little bit because everybody is on the internet.
There will always be room for some publications because people still might like to touch and feel, especially those with beautiful pictures,
Yes.
but many publications are doing it both ways. I've been getting Oprah magazine for years, and I remember how thick it used to be, and the last few have been just
thin,
very thin,
okay.
much thinner than half the size.
Right.
But she also has her online presence as well, as far as their publication. So it'll still be there. It's just that they're reaching all avenues for everybody's taste.
Now, one thing that I learned from kind of Facebook stalking you a little bit, and speaking with you, of course, is that you just have a heart to help people.
Yes.
You know, how did that come about? What inspired you? I want to talk a little bit about your book because I had a chance to read it. Just Do Your Dream. And this title just jumped out at me. It was just like, just do your dream. And I was just like, this is like a command, you know what I'm saying? It makes you, it's like an action word, just do your dream. So I love it. What inspired Just Do Your Dream?
Well, I would say now 7 years ago, when we were celebrating, Visibility Marketing was celebrating its 10th anniversary. Okay, so I thought about don't drop the dream, because the business was something I had wanted to do since I was 10. And I remember specifically deciding that I wanted to be a business owner, right? I was 10 years old. I had visited my father's business in Puerto Rico, and he would take me to work with him. And it was that point that I said, as a 10-year-old, that I want to have my own business.
Awesome.
But it didn't happen until 20-something years later, right?
Right.
But I didn't drop the dream, right? I never said, I don't want to do this. Every job that I had working for somebody else, it was always in my mind, where I am now, I'm learning what I need to start my own business. And it had always been in the back of my mind and in my heart. So when I did the 10th anniversary, it was inspiring people, don't drop the dream. Don't drop the dream. Whatever dream you have, don't drop it. Just continue to move forward, whatever that looks like.
So was that almost the title, Don't Drop the Dream?
Yes, but then someone mentioned to me that, well, when you use the word don't, it sort of has a different connotation to it. So, I said, okay, well, let me take the word don't out and just do your dream. So it's really the same thing. Don't drop the dream, just do your dream. And so that's where that came from.
And it gives a different feeling too. Like I said, just do your dream. It really made me think like, just do it, and that is an action word. So this book is most definitely motivating, just in the title and its song. So there are many storytellers in your book. Now, one thing I know is that a lot of times people don't bring their dreams to fruition just because of their story, just different things that have occurred in their life. So, and then we all have different stories, but people need to hear different people's stories, because some people may not think their story matters, but there's so many stories in this book, and I loved all of them, and because it told how they went about with bringing their dream, having their dream come to fruition. So how did you choose your storytellers?
Well, I put it out in social media, and people responded, because one of the things that I asked is, if you're over 40 and you have finally realized your dream. So this book is for everybody, but the focus was for people who were similar to me, that had a dream, but it didn't come to fruition until years later because of, and I put 3 F's in there, for the reasons why not, and 4 F's for the reasons that people finally realize their dream. So the 3 F's that people can sometimes stop the dream. Finances.
Yes.
Fear is number 1, and family. So those are the 3 F's.
Yes, because when it comes to finances, people are like, oh, I can't do it. When it comes to family, it can be sometimes your family, they don't mean any harm, but sometimes they talk you out of your dream because, we listen to our family. So when we hear their voice and they have doubt about our dreams, we kind of just say, well, maybe.
Or it could be family obligations.
Oh, it could be family obligations.
Yes.
Wow, those are awesome points.
And then, of course, we said fear, family. Fear is number 1. Fear stops anybody and everybody from doing anything. It doesn't have to be a dream. It can just be whatever they're afraid of, right?
That's true.
It can stop them from doing that. And but one of the things I do want to say is the book, the name came from Don't Drop the Dream.
Okay.
The book idea came from me doing another dream, which was the bodybuilding contest.
Yes, I seen that. I was just like on your Facebook page, the pictures you had up there. And I was just like, wow.
And that was something I wanted to do in my 20s, and that didn't come until many years later. But it just was another thing that I had always wanted to do. And I truly believe that God puts dreams inside of us and the purpose for us, right?
That's true.
And if it just nags you, if it's always there, if year after year after year, it's stirring up inside you.
And you're not going to get any rest. And so that's kind of my story, I vision came to me in 2010 and it's 2017 and it's now just coming, alive.
Absolutely.
And I kept telling myself, it's not, the delay is not a denial. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I kept pushing it off. But you talk about something that you wanted to do. I remember I was supposed to be a flight attendant. So, back then they had this book that you did these answer questions to, and that's how you would become a flight attendant. You took the test. And unfortunately, things happened to derail my dream. I became pregnant, so that most definitely derailed my dream. And I call it my midlife crisis because when I turned, I gotta think about it. When I turned 40, I said, I want to become a flight attendant. And I became a flight attendant for 2.5 years.
But when did you first want to be a flight attendant?
When I was 16 years old. Okay,
so there you go. You still did it.
I still did it.
You still did it. And I still believe that it doesn't matter how old you are. And sometimes, age may be a deterrent depending on what it is, but you can still do it in a different way, shape, or form. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
So if someone wanted to be an actor, right, and they're 60 now, well, they can act locally at community theater.
Right.
It's never too late because people need they need grandparents.
Yes.
They need,
It's the thing, it's never too late. So if you have a dream, just step out on faith, as they say, and do just the smallest thing. Participate in some type of theater or something.
Absolutely.
How would you motivate? I mean, what would you say to people who are holding on to their dreams? Like, what would you say to motivate them to get out and start the smallest step, to their dream?
So I will say this, that no one can motivate you. That comes from within.
Okay.
Now, you can be inspired and encouraged, but only you can motivate yourself.
Okay.
And so that's very important because the book is to encourage and inspire. But we all know, no matter, we have people, and I would use my children, for example, how much you try to motivate them to do something, and it doesn't come from outside. It doesn't come from anywhere outside. Motivation comes from within. So you can inspire someone.
Right.
You can encourage them, say, you're wonderful, you have, talented, you're this, you're that. I see greatness within you. But that's not going to make them get up in the morning and do what they have to do to realize that dream, because it's hard. Nothing is easy. Nothing worth having is easy. And that's what someone told me when I was doing the bodybuilding contest or training. And the trainer said to me, because part of that is the diet, which is very rigorous in training, and I was just getting so frustrated. And they said, well, if it was easy, everybody would be doing it.
That's true.
Right? If it were easy, everybody would be a bodybuilder. But it's not. And that is what I think is important, because you see Olympic athletes and then you see the end result, but you don't see the rigor that goes into that training.
You don't see the hard work they put in.
Absolutely.
And the sacrifices and the dedication, most definitely. I know a lot of people who have succeeded, and they've shared their story about those nights they cried because they didn't think they were going to be able to push through, or they didn't have the support they need. So even if you don't have the support, based on what Montrie is saying, and I know for my own self, I had to find my motivation, but I did use other different tools to inspire myself. That was inspiration, and whether it was quotes, affirmations, listening to other people's story. And that's what this book will do. It will inspire you, because there are so many people in this book that have their own story, and they did things their way, and it worked for them.
And there are more on the website. I only chose to use 40, but there are more on the website, and the 40 that are there that's the condensed version. So there are more, like as I said, on the websites that I didn't include in the book. But one of the things that's also in the book, so there are 3 deterrents, but there are 4 things that can help move you toward your dream. And you mentioned one, and that was faith. Yeah. Okay. Then there's focus, right? And then there's fortitude. And then the one that's very important that I look at a lot of times is forgiveness of past failures. Because a lot of times people say, well, I did that before and it didn't work. Well, do it again. Right. Michael Jordan said, I have failed and failed and failed many times, and that is why I succeed. Wow. Because the more you fail, that's a learning experience. That's something to say, okay, this failed, so let me try this. Like riding a bike, and how many times did you fall when you were riding a bike and you had to get up? You wanted to learn how to ride that bike though. Absolutely. So those scraped knees and elbows did not stop. It didn't stop me. Right. And my mother just kept hands on me. So, but I learned how to ride that bike, and so that's with everything that we do. We just have to keep going, keep trying, don't give up. And I've heard so many successful people say that. If it doesn't work, just keep going, get back up and start over again. Like they say, people have been bankrupt so many times, and then they've come to succeed and make all this money. So I hope we get to be money. Yes. How bad do you want it? Yeah, how bad do you want it? Tell me, what was your favorite story? I mean, what person inspired you most with the story? Do you have one in here? I have several. Okay. There are 2 blind people in the book. One is a writer, an author. Her name is Donna. And then there's Jim, and he's an artist. Okay. And when I look at people who have differences, that may hold many back, that to me is inspirational. Our family went on a trip to Myrtle Beach, and while there, and I talk about fear, doing it afraid. So one of my fears was riding in a helicopter. Okay, yeah. Planes, I don't particularly care for those either, but helicopters are another thing. Right. So I said, you know what? I'm just going to face my fear. I'm going to take a helicopter ride. So my daughter and I were in one, and my husband and son were in another. And the pilot, he looked rather young, so I asked him, I said, well, where did you learn to fly? Was it the Air Force? He said, no, I used to be a banker. So then that's when I said, okay, I need your information because I'm writing a book, and I just want to hear your story. So he went on to tell me that he always wanted to fly. And so even while he was working for the #1 bank in the country, making excellent money,
Oh my gosh, I can
he
imagine.
just still, you know, after work, he took flying lessons and did what he had to do. And at that time, he was a tourism flyer, so he was, you know, doing the flights in Myrtle Beach. It's like 6 minutes for some, 14 or whatever, and sometimes you could do a 45-minute flight. So we chose the second shortest one because I didn't want to be up there too long.
Right.
But then when I called him back to get an update, he was in New Jersey. He's flying the corporate people over to the Hamptons,
Oh, wow.
and you know when they for New York. So if they had to go and take a quick flight across the pond, he was doing that. He enjoyed it and loved it. And so I think that one of the things that I really enjoyed about talking to all of them was how happy they were.
Living the dream that they have. So, whether you have a disability, whether you have a story that may be a bad story, started off bad for you, but you know, you can still, if you have a dream, you can still succeed with your dream. Just find something that inspires you so that you can motivate yourself and just keep allowing it to say it to yourself so it can go down in your soul, because you know, we are the best person to listen to, because we actually know what's best for us. So if you in that job and you really don't want to be in that job, start working on your dream. Take the smallest step first, and then you'll begin to make bigger steps.
Absolutely.
So how can you be reached in order for your people to find out about how to purchase your book and just to, you know, reach out to you? Because I'm sure there's, you know, you never know, somebody might want you to hear their story.
Oh, absolutely. We're still taking stories. I wanted to have, well, I do have a Facebook group for people to share. I share on it 3 times a week, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and sometimes even more or less. But I try to Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. It's justdoyourdream.com.
Okay.
Justdoyourdream.com.
And then what about your business? What's that website?
It's visibilitymarketing.com.
Okay.
Visibilitymarketing.com. So the phone number to reach us is 440-684-9920, and justdoyourdream.com, visibilitymarketing.com.
Thank you so much for joining us on the Beyoutiful Hour. It's been a pleasure talking to you, and you know, just hearing about the different stories. I really enjoyed your book, and it's a book that I would just read, you know, periodically, just because, just for that extra inspiration to remind myself, you know, because sometimes when you are, well, I'll speak for myself, just sometimes in my own journey within the dreams that I have, and it can get a little fuzzy, it can get a little overwhelming, it can get a little discouraging, you know, because it takes time for your dreams to actually come to complete fruition, or for you to see yourself, be where you see yourself at. So thank you so much for joining the Beyoutiful Hour.